Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.
And we are live. What up, players? It is Wednesday, the 1st of February 20 February. Oh, holy shit. February already. God damn. 2023. So yeah, doing a live stream. I wanted to talk about cold approach mindset. Um Basically, I've been doing some excuse me, god damn, been doing some boot camps in Tokyo. So I've been doing a lot of cold approach recently during those boot camps. And yeah, so I just want to talk about the mindset you need to have to be successful at cold approach, because in my opinion and from my experience, cold approach is king. Cold approach is how 95% of men are going to get with decent quality women or really hot women. That's how they're going to get them, because most men, they're not going to get with hot, even decent quality women or hot women from dating apps or online dating. They're going to have to meet them in the real world. It's just, because the way things are, with online dating is that a woman could be with all due respect, a woman could be literally deformed, not only deformed, like incredibly ugly. A woman could be just so busted on, on a dating app, and they're still going to get a lot of attention from men on dating apps. Like, so if a girl is mid, like a 5 out of 10, like a on a dating app, she's gonna get like maybe 90% matches. If she's like a 7 and above, forget about it. They're getting like 100% matches, almost 100% matches. Like, so it's due to male thirst and female nature. A combination of the two is why dating apps don't really. Most guys are not going to get a good deal. They're going to get a raw deal on dating apps. You know, uh, Miguel in the house says, "Yo, yo, Mac, good to see you keeping the live streams going." Yeah, barely, but here I am. I'm busy. I'm enjoying life. I'm out here. I mean, I'm out here actually living a player lifestyle. I'm not really a YouTuber. I just do it occasionally. I should do it more. I really should, but I'm out here enjoying life. I'm not an armchair gamer. I actually game. I actually really do this stuff. This is just like a side thing. I spend way more time actually just enjoying life and gaming and having a lot of sex. Yeah, I mean, people could see that I share some stuff. I probably share more content on Mac the Day Gamer Instagram. But yeah, so here I am. But anyway, as I was saying, dating apps suck for most men. Um, they're always gonna suck. It's just male nature, female nature. The combination of the two don't. It's not It's not women's fault that it's men get a raw deal. Men like to shit on women for saying they're too picky, they're too self entitled, but the reason they are is because of men, because of men's behavior, because of men's thirst. And men aren't really to blame either for that, but it's just because of our nature. It's in our nature to want to spread the seed. That's not our fault. So men are going to be thirsty online. They're going to act really thirsty, and they're going to swipe right on extremely busted women. I always find it hilarious. It is really funny how your average dude, random dudes, like most guys, to be honest, most guys in front of their friends and in public, they'll have all these high standards about women. They'll be really picky and they say, "Oh, she's kind of fat. Oh, she's a weird hair, or she's weird teeth or weird eye." They'll be really picky, like really picky, but they'll end up banging basically a 3 or a 2 from a nightclub. It's just funny. I mean, behind closed doors or from a dating app, behind closed doors, most guys will have absolutely no standards, like zero standards. They'll pretend they do. They'll be all picky and say, "Oh, dude." Like most guys are super super thirsty and desperate. Um, so that's why girls are so picky about men online. That's why, because they can be, because they can in terms of girls. There's girls that will just any guy they swipe right on, they'll match with, and she won't even be special. So if she is special, she's like it's infinite number of options. Fredo says, "Bro, I saw fine girl at supermarket, couldn't make move, didn't think of how to start conversation." That is a problem for most guys, and I'll talk about that. So, you know, most guys have all you're trying to do is break the ice. And you don't need to be funny, I mean it'll help if you're funny, but most guys overthink the opener way too much. Like you don't need a pickup line, you don't need anything special, you don't need some like hilarious, interesting, weird thing to say. All it needs to be is, "Hey, how are you?" And it's in the way you say it and how you carry yourself. You know, I tell guys, you can learn a lot. I mean, you can tell a lot just from saying hello to a girl. You say hello, hi. You roll up to a girl and you say, hi, how are you? And you don't say anything else. You don't not rushing out. You're not getting all excited, all like, oh, I have to say more, more, more. That's what most guys fuck up at. They think that they have to say all the shit, like they have to like impress her somehow, and that's the worst thing you can do because you come across as being anxious and nervous. If you come across as anxious and nervous, it's extremely unattractive to women. It's so unattractive, and that's why that's why cold approach is hard for a lot of guys. Well, they think it's hard because they are genuinely anxious and nervous when they first start cold approaching. It's something that you have to get over time. And like at the start, it's normal. So you kind of have to go through that phase. It's like going to the gym to build muscle. You can't just go to the gym and build muscle straight away with your first gym session. No, it takes time. So it's the same thing with cold approach, same thing with, approaching women and talking to. It's basically social skills and learning how to flirt in a non-creepy, weird way. And that takes time. That doesn't happen overnight. That does not happen overnight. It takes reps. I tell guys, when guys come and do boot camps with me in Tokyo, I don't lie to them. I don't say, oh, you're just gonna be amazing straight away. No, you have to want it. You have to put in the reps. You have to put in the work. So yeah, like a lot of guys need to slow the fuck down. Another thing is guys worry. Some guys worry that girls have earphones in and they think that they can't approach. Every girl has earphones in if they're out and about. Out and about. So maybe the girl has earphones in the supermarket and she's going around shopping. You don't even need to open your fucking mouth to the girl before you get her attention. So what you do, a girl is like walking that, looking at the shopping, looking at the items on the shelf. What you do is you don't come from behind. You don't come like and startle her. The worst thing you can do is startle a girl from a cold approach, you know, because it's irritating. It's kind of irritating when someone startles you. So you come at an angle where they can see you coming, where they can see you, and she has her earphones in. You kind of just wave. The thing about Japan, the interesting thing about Japan, a lot of girls will like ignore, straight up ice you out of it. The thing I noticed when I travel, girls don't ice you out. Like it rarely happens. I was in Dubai, Ireland. Girls always they always at least hear you out. But anyway, most girls are going to hear you out and see what you have to say. But you don't like, so when a girl's wearing earphones, don't say anything. Just like kind of come at a night. Don't like come behind her and like tap her on the shoulder like a fucking idiot. Come at an angle where she can see you, kind of wave at her, like with a smile, not like we're all like serious and nervous, like kind of like a little, not a big, huge grin, but like a pleasant looking face. Not, doesn't have to be a huge smile, but like you just look pleasant. Kind of wave at her. See if wait till she takes her earphones out before you say anything, because there's no point like coming at a girl and start talking at her, and then she has to take it out, and you have to say the exact same thing again, and you look goofy, like you have to repeat yourself. It's stupid. So just get her attention, and when she takes it out and say, "Hello, how are you?" Like just and then like from that you can decipher a lot. Like, is she smiling? Is she confused? It's okay if they're confused, but and they might say, "Do I know you?" And it's like, "Oh no, I just want to say I like your style. You look pretty good." And then you introduce yourself. So that's like a basic. But in Japan, the thing is, a lot of girls will straight up ice you out of it. So I won't even waste my breath. Another thing is, be stingy with your compliments. So like, I won't just go up to a girl and straight up compliment her. Like straight up, like that's the first thing you say is like compliment her. It's a little too much, and you don't need to do that. because especially in Japan, because a lot of girls, not a lot of girls, but a certain percentage of girls are going to ignore you and like ghost you, and they're not going to be interested in you, and they're not going to be receptive to you. So I don't give a compliment straight away. First of all, because it's too like, right, like there's a form that's like compliment, introduction, question. But even before the compliment, I'll say hello, like greet them and say, hey, how are you? It can be that simple. You can discover, especially again in Japan, I can tell a lot from just saying hello to a girl. Hello, how are you? Just a simple opening. Um, I can tell, like, is she receptive to me? Is she like smiling? Is she like walking away from me? Is she ignoring me? Or can she speak English? Because if I'm opening in English, I can tell her not whether or not she can speak English. But I mean, again, you can do this exact same thing in any country. It doesn't matter. You can do this in a Western country. You can do it in America, anywhere. It doesn't matter. I mean, I was doing it in Ireland. Um, it doesn't need to be. Yeah, it's not specific to Japan. It's just it's the same thing. You say, "Hey, hello, how are you?" Um, you can just tell a lot from their body language, and it's important to learn their body language. I mean, in Japan, there's some very common, like there's some mannerisms that will are differ from country to country, but um, in Japan, when if you open a girl, sometimes they'll like straight up ice you out of it, ghost you, pretend that you ghosting, like as in they don't even see you. It's funny, but I mean, I almost prefer it that way because you straight up know your answer immediately. And it's like, yeah, there's no point. Like that's the thing about the thing about day game. You realize like first you have to, because you don't know the girl's situation. You don't know her what she could be waiting on her boyfriend. It could be like, she doesn't want to be seen to be talking to a guy. It could be just that you're not her type. It could just be that, and that's a cold hard truth that you're just gonna have to accept. It could be just that you're not her type. She's just, because girls will. It's That's why looks maxing is really important. That's why it's important to look interesting, look smart, look cool, be in good shape, because that gives you. It's like you get an interview. It's like getting an interview, a very short interview. You get a chance, and sometimes if you don't look the part, they're just not going to give you. They're not going to give you the chance. They're just not going to talk. They're just not going to want to talk to you. They're just not. No, he's not my type. They like immediately. Girls think like that, or maybe it's even subconscious. It's like, no, I don't want to talk to this guy. He's bothering me. No, and if you do look the part, she's gonna hear you out, give you her ear, you know. Um, so that's why you need game. That's why you really need game. Um, you really need, because, like I said, you're only getting an interview. You're only getting a shot when you open a girl. If your game sucks, if you're awkward, if you don't really know how to read her, um, you're not gonna succeed. I mean, I do a lot of boot camps, and sometimes I do boot camps with really guys that are good, handsome, objectively handsome, great fashion. That looks wise, there's absolutely zero issues. Like there's zero issues. They're 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 going to be popular with women looks wise, but sometimes they just aren't calibrated with their game, and they're not able to read women, and they're not able to read the situation. um Read whether a woman is into them or not into them. And it's obviously really important to be able to understand whether a chick is into you or not into you. And then another thing is, some guys give up way too soon. I'm not talking about harassing a chick, or persisting with a chick that isn't into you. That's why it's so important to be able to read a woman and understand whether she's like really not into you and you're just annoying her. I'm not saying be persistent in that regard, But as in, some guys think, oh, she's kind of not being, she's not asking me any questions, so she's not into me, so I'm gonna like give up. No, it's just, that's not, you need to be able to read the air and read how she's feeling, and how, how is she enjoying my company, or am I bothering her. That's kind of, and the only way you can actually do that is through talking with women. you know if you're a guy that just only consumes content, that's all you do, and you think that you're going to consume all this content, and then you're going to, like, you're just going to you're going to know so much that you're just going to be able to go out in the streets, and you're going to be a player, you're going to pick up all these chicks. It doesn't work like that. Like, sure, the content help if you consume good content, good advice, like the advice I give. It's great advice, because I'm speaking from years of experience of actually doing it. Um, so if, yeah, consuming good advice, good content that is very actionable and helpful. Plus, what's even more important, I'll be really honest, like, I'll be so honest that, like, what's even more important than consuming good advice is actually going out on the streets and cold approaching yourself. That's how you learn the most. That's how I learned. I wasn't one of these guys that like consumed pickup content. I was already good at pickup by the time I started finding finding this space. I found a red pill through well, it was actually through uh it was actually through Rolo Tomasi. But yeah, but I mean, I was more interested in this, in the dynamics between men and women. And Rolo Tomasi isn't a pickup guy. He wasn't like teaching pickup. But yeah, I've told that story before. I was dating a Korean girl, and I was blue pill about it, and I was gonna go and move over to Korea with her. My brother thought that was a bad idea. I was still, young at the time. I was time. It's just never a good idea to follow a girl like to another country. It's just, so he was right, and he sent me some articles, Rolo Tomasi articles, that were quite helpful, to be honest. And yeah, I mean, that kind of, I mean, you know, I think I would have well, it's also kind of how I ended up in Japan, because instead of going to Korea with her, I broke up with her, and I did realize I wanted to travel and live outside of Ireland for a while. I was only intending on leaving for a year, but I was like, fuck it, yeah, like Japan looks interesting. Might check that out. I was gonna go to China. I didn't really care where I went, to be honest. I was pretty much open minded. I just wanted to, have a travel experience for a year. And I came to Japan, and I kind of fell into pickup because, I think I've mentioned this many times, but I was living up, the first place I lived in Japan was a city, northern city up in the Tohoku region. And it was a decent sized city, much bigger than what I'm used to in Ireland. But the nightlife was really shit there, and I was only used to picking up girls from nightlife in Ireland. So I don't know, I just didn't really understand the city. But what I did notice about the city, when I was out and about, I would see like just stunningly hot girls out shopping, and like, it was a nice city. It was a very nice city, and I just couldn't help myself. I just realized, holy shit, I just really want to start talking to these girls. They're so hot, they're so sexy, and they're just walking around during the afternoon. Not like thing about Japan is like club culture, and Tokyo is different. Obviously, Tokyo is a massive city, so it's the capital, so nightlife is a bigger thing here. But like in other cities around Japan, like going to a nightclub, and going to, like, even the kind of bars they have here, they're not Western style bars. They're more like, you'd go there to eat and drink, but you'd be with your friends. You wouldn't really socialize with other people. It would be like in a little booth or something. So it was quite different, and I was like, I kind of wasn't really having much success with the nightlife at the start because I didn't really understand it. Plus my Japanese was non-existent, couldn't speak Japanese, all that stuff. I I learned a lot of Japanese from pickup, actually, just from not only that, but obviously a little bit of study here and there. But um, pickup seriously helped, like just talking, using little bits of Japanese, like. But yeah, I learned pickup just I, out of just like pure desire to want to talk to hot chicks that I saw out and about. It wasn't because I saw some video about pickup or like that. I was like, oh no, it was like I think when I started doing pickup, I hadn't ever like watched pickup videos or anything like that. It was just me doing it out of my own interest. And I guess I could have learned faster if I had consumed some good content. I think definitely would have learned faster. But something when you learn the hard way, it's more like instilled in you. I think. Um, Study says, how long should interactions be? 5 to 10 minutes. Good question. It really depends. It's again, it boils down to calibration, like like what kind of situation you're in. Some guys send me recordings and ask me to like rate their, their approach and whatnot. And a lot of times I notice that sometimes guys send me recordings that are way too long. And first of all, I'm not going to listen to a recording that's like really long unless I'm getting paid for it. But you know what I mean? Like, but my point is, sometimes the approaches are the conversations are unnecessarily long. I remember some guy sent me this like 20-minute, like a 20-minute fucking conversation. I think it was even, and I actually did listen to this one. I did because I was a nice guy at the time. Still a nice guy, but no, I listened to it. And at the end, he asked for the number, and she said, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." He spent 20 minutes talking to some bitch, and he didn't get the number. But I knew 5 minutes into the interaction that less than five. I knew a minute into the interaction that she was not interested in. She was just being polite. She was kind of just talking to him because she probably had nothing better to do. But my point is, he wasn't calibrated about. He wasn't able to pick up on like the vibe, like her interest levels. Like me, I'm super fucking calibrated with that. I am so good at picking up on a girl's interest level in me, like interest or non-interest. So I'm really good at picking up on a girl if she's not into me or not. I really, and I don't waste her time and I don't waste my time. Like if a girl is just being polite and just talking to me, you know, I'm not going to waste time. It's always good if you're going to make it an approach. I'll say you might as well, even if you think that, you know, if you're picking up on a vibe that she's just not that interested, still shoot for the contact because you don't you it could turn into something. I mean, it's all if you're going to go to the effort of approaching a chick and she's kind of receptive to you but not that much, still shoot for the contact. And then when I pick up on a vibe that a girl is kind of like not that into me, um but she's kind of talking to me, I'll cut it off. I'll kind of close up the conversation by trying to get her contact and saying, hey, let's have a drink sometime, or let's have a coffee sometime, because you never know. You went to the effort of approaching her, so you might as well try and get the contact. And I have been surprised on occasion. There has been the occasional time where I approached a girl and she didn't seem that receptive. She wasn't that, I thought, but so I decided to wrap up the interaction by just trying to exchange contact, suggesting we get a coffee or a drink sometime. And I've gotten the contact and I've ended up successfully banging them. So, that's why it's always worth to, if you're picking up on a vibe she's not interested, I would say wrap it up and bounce. Like, but even, again, it depends on the situation. Like you could be on a train. Like a subway or whatever. And you don't, I might only be a short interaction. Like sometimes I meet girls and the interaction lasts less than 2 minutes. It's important to know, like, when you don't need to spend that much extra time talking to them. Um, a lot of time I'll it could be certainly less than 5 minutes. A lot of my interactions, but I mean it depends again. Like if you're in a park, like if you're free, she's free. I mean, if you're both free, why not do just an Insta date? So it could be longer than that. But if you're just trying to get a girl's number, I mean, 5 minutes, anything over 5 minutes seems a little. To me, it seems that's not my style. It seems like excessive. Like if you're going to talk to a girl for 5 minutes, and you're not even wrapping it up, like why not? I would always, the thing about me is if I'm going to talk to a girl for that long, I'm going to shoot for an Insta date, because I'm not going to spend like 5 minutes talking to a random chick, because I'm super hyper aware of the numbers game. As a gamer, I've so much experience. I've approached thousands and thousands of girls. I've banged hundreds and hundreds of girls. I've been on hundreds of dates. I have like thousands of hours of experience with so many different women, that I know that even if an interaction goes really well, like I think, you go to a chick and you approach her and she's like super receptive. You think like she's down, like she's into me. No, she's not into until you she's not into you until you're into her. All right, literally speaking. No, but seriously, a lot of like guys, when they first start doing game, they get way too excited about getting a number. Like way too excited. They're like, "Oh, she's so down. She's so no, she's not down until you're in her pants." Or guys will come to me and be like, "Oh, she's definitely down to meet me. I know she is." And I'll come and fucking rain on their party, and I'll be like, "Dude, calm down, relax." Like, but I'm doing it for their own benefit. I'm telling them for their own good, like, because it's kind of exhausting. It's draining on your energy to be thinking, "Oh, she's gonna meet me," and be getting excited over getting a girl's number. It just I'm not trying to shit on anyone, but it just kind of shows your lack of experience with women and with game in general, because she's not down to meet you until she meets you. It doesn't matter how well the interaction went, doesn't matter how well you got on with her and how flirtatious you think she was. She's not down to meet you till you have met her. And she's not down to bang you until you have banged her. You know what I mean? So like don't get too excited. That's why it's all about like gaming, like and cold approach is really, it's just about consistency. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but it's um it's just about consistently approaching random chicks that you find attractive. And if like over time you get better at it, and you get, you'll build up contacts, and you'll figure out, a system. You'll figure out how this game works. um Miguel says, "What's your take on cold approach? Chasing chicks versus chasing success, then putting work into game. There's a lot of talk of that in the red pill community." I mean, this idea that you can just chase success and then you're just gonna like be a player someday. No, like money does not. I'm not. Of course, chasing success is a good idea as a man, but you can still work on your game a little bit. You can still get laid. This idea that, oh, I'm just going to ignore chicks and I'm just going to like focus on my success, and I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm just going to get all the chicks. Well, you might get all the chicks by paying for them, but your game is still going to suck. Social skills takes a long time to develop. If you ignore your social skills, if you ignore like dealing with women, it's going to be, yeah, it gets, honestly, it does get harder as you get older. Like the sooner you you develop social skills and you develop an understanding of female nature, then the better your game is, because game is like understanding female nature, understanding what turns women on, understanding how to, like, and not understanding it from consuming YouTube videos, understanding it in the real world, understanding it from actually dealing with them, not just watching like Fresh and Fit and watching like all this stuff. You learn about women from talking to them, from trying to escalate, trying to sleep with them. That you learn a fuck ton about them. You learn everything you need to know about game from just actually trying to game women, and you'll fail a lot along the way. But yeah, again, I just think it's such a bullshit idea. I mean, again, let me just reiterate. Of course, chasing success is super, like, it's a super commendable thing to do, and most guys, you should do it. Like, it's a great, you know, you should do that. But I think there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get laid on the side while chasing success. It doesn't mean you have to put all your hours into gaming or anything, but you should still try and get laid. I know a lot of guys that, they just focus on success and they think they're gonna someday wake up and just be able to, just be good with women, and they're gonna get all the women. It's like, yeah, well, if you have money, I mean, you can pay hookers, but I mean, your game's still gonna suck, because game takes time to develop, and yeah, it's just that's the way it is. Uh, yeah, so I just think it's a weird, like, again, like time is our most valuable resource. So if you want to be getting laid while you're young too, this the worst. I hate the red pill idea that, oh, you don't ignore women in your 20s and just like fucking just chase success. It's such a spurgy autistic idea. Again, like, I'm for success, I'm for chasing success, but there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get laid on the side. There's no reason. There's no reason. It's a cop out. It's a cope. It's bullshit. The guys who say that can't get laid anyway, they're just full of shit. Like, they're just it's an excuse. It's an excuse. Like, oh, I'm just gonna go monk mode. Just fuck, you're gonna stay monk mode for the rest of your fucking life. Like, that's the reality. That's the reality. Yeah. So you need balance. You need some kind of balance, or you lose your fucking mind. You need to, yeah, I think it's just like, life is better when you're getting laid, man. It just is. Like, so what's the point? Like, you miss out, chase success, and then you just miss out on, like, not having sex for years. You don't get that time back. You don't get that hell. Like, sex isn't going to be as good when you're older. Like, when you're like an old dude in your 50s, it's not, you're not going to be as good. You're not going to be as, like, healthy and as sexually active. You're probably not even going to have the desire to fuck as much. So, I mean, time is your most valuable resource. So, anyway, I just think there should be some kind of balance. This idea that you can just not get with women for years, and then, like, suddenly you're going to be successful, and then you're going to get all the women. It's a stupid idea for me. I Yeah. I mean, but again, I'm probably I'm I chase I'm on the side of chasing women too much, but I enjoy it. I love living the player lifestyle. I enjoy chasing women, um, gaming women. It's a lot of fun. Life is a lot better when you're getting laid. Um, what's your thoughts on direct versus indirect? Hey, you're attractive. My name's Let's hook up. I mean, uh, I mean, it's in some. Again, it depends on the situation, on the kind of girl. Like, again, it depends on what kind of guy you are as well. Some guys can get away with that. Some guys cannot. Some guys cannot. We're not all equal. We're not all the same. We're just not. Like, no matter. We're not all the same. A really handsome, good-looking guy that is really smooth with it may possibly be able to pull that off, and probably can pull that off. But um, it depends on the girl. It depends for a lot of women. That's going to be too direct. I don't think you need to like it's you're kind of risking when you're that direct. You can shoot yourself in the foot if you're that direct. Saying that to a random girl, it can't. I'm not saying it can't work, but in a way, there's no need to be that direct because you could shoot yourself in the foot. Like a lot of time, women will be down to fuck, but you just need to play it a little smoother and use plausible deniability and whatnot, and give them a because women aren't like men. They're not like men. They do like sex, but they're not. They don't like it in the same way that we go after it as men. Men are always turned on, like a healthy man. Anyway, his brain is at least always turned on. Not always his dick, but his brain is always interest, unless he's post nut syndrome. But you get my point, right? Men walk around with healthy testosterone, walk around where we see a hot woman where we don't care about what her name is. We don't know. We just know that we want to fuck her. We just know that we want to do filthy hot sex. Hot. We want to have filthy hot sex with her, and we don't even know her name. But that's just the way men are. Women don't operate like that. They just do not. Women have to be turned on like buttons. You have to like warm them up. So again, my opinion is that's gonna probably, for a really good looking guy that's really smooth with it, it can work. But for most guys, I do not recommend that approach. Definitely not. Miguel says, have you noticed any difference in your interactions with women and how they react to you in your 20s versus 30s? Experience and age, I'm guessing, is a plus, right? Well, I mean, you know, I didn't start. Well, I mean, in my early 20s, I didn't have that. I certainly didn't have the confidence to cold approach women. Wasn't doing it in my early 20s. I mean, it was around my mid 20s when I started doing cold approach. But man, if I only knew what I knew, like if I knew what I know now back then, man, my notch count would be in the thousands. It would be absurd. But yeah, I'm obviously I'm all about improving as much as I can in every aspect and trying to just improve. And I feel like I'm more attractive now as a 34-year-old than I was when I was 21. I'm more attractive now. Like I just am because of what I know. Refine my. I'm just about grooming, about fashion, about fitness. It's just like I'm trying to age like a fine wine. And if men can, that's the beauty about being a man. That's the beauty is that you you have the possibility to age like a wine. It's not a given. This idea that any man can age like a wine, any man can age like a fine wine is bullshit. But they have the possibility if they put in the work and they take care of their health and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm way more. I get way more IOIs. Not that I get a lot. Like I'm a guy that I talk about this. I've talked about it before, but I don't really care that much about IOIs because women don't. Like I said, women do not walk around like men looking. Men walk around. We see a hot woman. We look at her. We're like, oh my god, she's fucking sexy as fuck. I want to fuck her. Women don't do that. They do not do that. Like a lot of guys that they come to me and they get like they're butthurt about the fact that they don't get IOIs. I don't get that many IOIs. I do sometimes, but it's like most of the hottest girls I hook up with from cold approach, they didn't even fucking like give me a single IOI, and some of them have seen me like walking by them. It's me that put myself in front of them, started talking to them, and then when they hear your voice and they smell your cologne and they realize you're so cool and relaxed and you're not nervous and weird, you're just friendly and you're fun, then like they realize, oh, he's nice, like he's interesting, so this is how women operate. So at the same time and time again to guys that like if you're expecting like girls to ever make the first move or come your way, you're gonna be fucking. You're just never gonna have sex. I'm just gonna put it out there. You're never gonna have sex. Women and men are not the same, not by a long shot. There's not like in the way that men and women date each other. Like nothing pronounces that more in the way that we date each other. Our differences, because it's so different. Men and women date each other so that we have to go after them. Because they're not going to come our way. Forget about all the woke bullshit agenda, woke lefty agenda saying that we're all equal, we're all the same, men and women can approach men. It's not in their nature. It's not in their. If men are afraid to approach women, obviously they're like fucking 100 times more nervous to approach a man. You know, to flirt and hook up with. Like it's just, I don't know. But yeah, man. To answer your question, I've never felt as uh I feel, yeah, I've never had it as good. I mean, I feel like I'm just getting better. I'm still ascending. I'm still going up. Uh still getting better with the chicks. Like I'm still learning game. Like I'm still like trying to improve. Still trying to refine my fitness, fashion, and game. You know. Cobalt says, "Hey Mac, I see you used the thumbnail we took in Shibuya. I did indeed, buddy. I did indeed. Thank you very much. Have our local photographer here in Tokyo. Appreciate it, bro. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So as you get older, man, like it's just that's the beauty. Honestly, that is the beauty about being a guy. You have the possibility to, like, you have a lot longer shelf life than than chicks do. Um, a chick, honestly, it's not that chicks can't be hot. Chicks can be hot right into their 40s, to be honest, like MILFs and all that. And I like a nice MILF now and again. I do. I do appreciate a nice MILF, but you can still recognize that she is past her prime. She's not as beautiful as she was when she was 21. But men can, like I said, I feel more attractive now than I was when I was 21. That's not the case for women. um and it is true, a lot of women genuinely like older guys. A lot of them do. Like, it's like there's so much cope amongst feminists and all that about how, when we state the fact that men like younger women, there's so much cope. There's like, oh, you're so creepy, it's so weird, it's no, like, young women are attracted to older guys. And we're attracted to younger women. It's just it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So, I mean, if you're a guy and you have neglected your health, or you neglected your game, and you're in your late 20s or 30s, there's still time. You still have uh, a chance to, be like, learn game, and you know work on your fitness and become more attractive to women. But and become genuinely like a genuinely attractive guy that can attract younger women. um uh, uh Cobalt says, "Hey bro, we discussed once about survival of the weakest in Japan. Expand on that. I mean, we saw it live. Survival of the weakest in Japan. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Survival of the weakest. You mean Japanese people or what? I'm not really sure. I'm not. Expand on that. I'm not. I can't remember that reference. Um. Gabriel East says, "What up, Mac? What up, Gabriel? What is good? Dating a 10 out of 10. I mean, okay, I think, well, I mean, Jap, I think I know what you're talking. I'm not sure if I know what you're talking about, but I think, yeah, in Japan is different, man. Japan is different. Beauty standards in Japan for men are different here. There's, like like there's an idea that, yeah, as a foreigner, well, the biggest biggest myth about being a white male in Japan is that you just have it. It's just like it's handed to you on a platter. It's bullshit. You know, it's garbage because, as we discussed, a Japanese dude can be like a fucking pencil. You'll see Japanese dudes like that are pencil thin, look like dorks, are pencil thin, and this isn't just a rare occasion. They look like dorks. They are dorks, but they'll be with these bad little bitches. Like, and it's weird. It's so weird because they're so. It's such a weird contrast, and it's not that the dudes are. Well, some of them might be paying for them, but some of them aren't. Um, some of them are paying, some of them aren't, but like a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are in genuine relationships. But Japan is interesting in that regard, where you'll see dudes that are genuine dorks with absolutely sexy girls, like hotties, baddies, like just feminine little tasty looking things, and you'll see it all the time. It's I don't know. It's just it's a different culture over here. It's a different vibe. I mean, even the guys that are, it's not that you can't find like there are masculine dudes in Japan, but I would they're few and far between. There are genuinely, muscular masculine Japanese men as well, but I will say they're definitely in the minority. Your average Japanese dude is very feminine, and even the guys that would be deemed as handsome would look extremely feminine. You know, guys that are, celebrities, musicians. Like, it's very popular for men well, it's becoming extremely popular in Japan for men to get laser hair removal, permanently removing their beard, any facial growth, like that, like, and for men, like straight men. This is a thing in Japan, like laser hair removal for your facial hair, like a permanent removal, like you can't grow a beard again. They're not like transvestites or gays or anything. It's straight men are doing this in Japan. It's a it's a different it's a different vibe over here. It's a different thing. So, like, I always tell guys, when, my approach to game in Japan is, I'm not gonna try and look more feminine to fit into Japanese culture, because that would be so fucking lame to do that. First of all, that, like, to try and like worm my like try and be someone that I'm not. All I'm trying to do is become the best version of myself. Just become the best version of myself, which is more masculine, more jacked, more masculine, better fashion, well groomed, you know, all the good stuff. And just be the best version of myself. And just because if I tried to like become more feminine looking, more Japanese looking, it's like it's so, first of all, it's extremely lame to do that. Plus, you're gonna be right in the middle then, and you're not gonna get the girls. You're still a foreigner, so you're still not gonna get the girl. Well, you might get some, but whatever. You're gonna be on the fence, is what I'm saying, because because the girls that do like masculine men would be like, oh, that guy, he's like too feminine, and then the girls that like feminine looking Japanese guy be like, oh, he's foreigner, so like, yeah, you're gonna just be a lame dude sitting on the fucking fence. So just become the best version of yourself wherever the fuck you are in the world. Don't give a fuck about what women like there. I mean, traditional masculine look isn't the most popular one in Japan. I'm still going to go for that look because that's the look that suits me the best. Objectively, I look at myself in the mirror and I know that look looks good. So, yeah. Aaron Norris says, keep on trucking the YouTube hustle. Great show, Mac. Appreciate it, bro. Hey, study says safety tips when day games. Safety tips. I mean, well, I've talked already about how important it is to like genuinely like understand, be able to read the air, understand when a girl is understand her body language, understand whether she's actually wants to talk to you or whether she doesn't. Um, not like harass women, not like bother them. You know, and that's one thing about my game that I'm very fucking like tight on is that I'm very clued into. I have it very refined, and it's not even difficult, to know after a while. It's very easy to know when a girl is not interested. And Japanese girl, I appreciate Japan because they're very kind of, if a girl isn't interested in you, a lot of the time they'll like ghost you, like they'll completely ignore you, and that's fine by me. But safety tips. I mean, uh, in what regard? Is does that answer your question? I'm not really sure what kind of safety um you know you're talking about. uh Daniel Mendes says, "Sup, Mac? What do you think one could be doing wrong when going on a bunch of dates that go nowhere?" Yeah, I mean, if you're going on a bunch of dates and they're going nowhere, then you're definitely doing something wrong because you should have a high enough success rate once you're on a date. So the most common mistake guys make when a date doesn't go anywhere is that they fail to escalate. They didn't escalate. It was a pure sterile date. And because there's one thing that's fucking certain is that women will absolutely never, well, I'll say 1 in 1,000 girls might escalate, but let's just say or if she's like super drunk or whatever, but you shouldn't be trying to get girls super drunk on dates anyway. But so my point is that's probably where you're going wrong, is that you haven't been escalating, as in like, touching her hand. You need to escalate because, like I said, women are like buttons. They need to be turned on. Men are always turned on. We're always like thinking about sex, wanting to fuck. Women don't operate like that. They don't. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I've been on fucking hundreds of dates. Maybe even, I'm sure I've been on over 1,000 dates because I've banged hundreds of women. So, um, my point is, like, if you don't escalate, the date isn't going to go anywhere. And if you don't turn her on somewhat during the date, she's not going to want to meet you again. So I'm probably right in guessing that you didn't try and escalate in a smooth manner. The best way to escalate on a date is like smoothly, like gradually. So when, you open the door for her, you kind of put your hand on her back, like, don't be afraid to lightly, escalate throughout the date. If you're, for example, like, even if I go on a coffee date, I'll be sitting across from the girl. Ideally, you want to be sitting beside her, but it's not always possible depending on the venue. But, easiest way to escalate, and it's super effective, super effective, is to initiate touch through hand. It's fucking harmless, but it's like you're never going to get in trouble for touching a girl's fucking hand on a date. Like, and you need, like, you know what I mean? It's not like you're touching her ass or anything, but even though it's just hands, it's super effective at communicating sexual interest. And I do it all the time. And you could imagine you could just be sitting across from a girl having a coffee with her, and she might have her nails done, and then her hands are on the table, and then you don't say, "Oh, can I have your hand, milady?" No, you say, you kind of put your hand, you take her hands out. "Oh, I really like your nails," and you kind of just like kind of massage her hand, not in a weird way. It's like, it's so casual. I've done this so many fucking times that it's not awkward. It's genuinely not awkward. I imagine, like, if I tried to do this, I know though, Like the first when you have it is awkward the first when you're first start trying to do it. It takes calibration. It takes like genuine confidence to do it. You need like genuine, but you know, you need to start somewhere. But I mean, eventually you'll get it down pat, and it's not awkward at all. And you compliment her hands, and then you say, "Oh, you have very soft hands. I like them." And you can even another one is you can just compare hand sizes. You know, tell her hands are cute, whatever. But you just kind of sometimes just continue to hold her hand, massage this part of her hand. I often do that. I'll start massaging this part of her hand. And like when you're like good with a girl's hands, when you're like good with her hands and you're able to hold them in a proper way, you're able to kind of massage them properly. Like she knows you're going to be good in bed. You can communicate that you're good at sex through the way you hold her hand. You can communicate that straight up, like easily. I do it all the time. Do it all the time. And I man, I get horny sometimes just from holding a girl's hand. And I know that, and it's not only me. It's like you're making them horny as well. You can do that through touch of hand. Easy, easy way. So you better start. You should start doing that on dates. Um, um, yeah, but so hope that helps. Cobalt says, "Remember Nathan? He gets approached in college. I mean, don't. Well, that's good. It's good, but I mean, approached by who? Like, I mean, as a guy, don't wait to get approached. If you get approached, good. But I mean, it's not going to happen for most guys, and it's like I don't get approached, and I have a lot of sex, because I approach. Um, Masculine, I think, is seen as a meme in Japan. Uh, yeah, I mean, there are girls that like masculine guys here, but I think more of them like more feminine looking guys. I think it's called like hoso macho. It means skinny masculine. Hoso macho. I think that's a popular look. Like a shredded look would be a popular look in Japan rather than a rugby player look. Um, so getting shredded it would probably benefit you in Japan. Um, uh, let's see. Like being jacked is just a joke to people, and the mental benefits is not really important. I don't know if it's a joke, man. I mean, I don't know if it's a joke, but it's not as maybe not as it's not as popular a look in Japan. That's for sure. Um, Study says style tips in general. I mean, that's a hard one to answer because it depends on the kind of guy you are. Depends on your physique, your body. It's like it's not a one size fits all solution. Um, it's like a different look might suit you than would suit me. Um, so I'd need to know more about like your what you look like. I don't know. Maybe a surfer look looks good for you. Maybe it would look terrible. It depends on your body shape, your body size. What your interests are, because you want it to be authentic as well. You know, you want to have an authentic look. You don't want to have like a fake look. Um. Uh. So it should be kind of styling, like it just depends. It's like a given is like well groomed, good, like this basic fucking shit, right? You start at the fucking basics. Really good hygiene, as good as hygiene as you can have, like good hygiene, well groomed, you're off to a good start there. So you're starting at the basics. Then you can start build up on top of that. You start like figuring out what are your interests. You might be interested in like but motorbikes or something, so you're gonna have a dope ass like leather jacket. you know then you might have like you got to work on your physique, so you wear tight, like you wear a tight fucking t-shirt to show the tight, that's tight around your biceps. That'll look good with the matching with the leather jacket. Then you might have some chain, some accessory, some chain down here. And girls think you're a badass. Get your ears pierced like me because I'm a badass. You know, you get some torn up, ripped jeans, some boots. I mean, you know, I'm just because you know, styling tips. What do you want to look like? What are your interests? I need to know more. You know, it's different strokes for different folks, but there are some universal things that you know, good hygiene, good grooming, like, you know, that's universal. You need to be on top of that. That's just a given, but the rest is like, you know, varies vastly depending on what your interest and what your body shape is and all of that. But yeah, guys, been going here for a while. As usual, like, comment, subscribe if you want more. You know, you want more of an in-depth breakdown of, you know, your to help your dating life. I'm the man for the job. Email me macthedaygamer.com, macthedaygamer@gmail.com, or DM me on Instagram, macthedaygamer. Check the link in the description if you want to book a consultation. I mean, if you're in Tokyo, you know, hit me up, man. Hit me up. I'm here. We can do a boot camp, and I can show you. I can show you. I'm the real deal. You'll see. When guys come out and do game with me, they're gonna see. They're gonna see that this day game thing really does work, and it just you know, you just need to get it down, and it can really change your sex life and make you enjoy life a lot more, because getting laid makes life a lot more enjoyable. Trust me on that one. It just does. It just does. Anyways, so I will leave you with the montage of the Oriental experience. For anyone that wants to come to Tokyo and hit up the main streets with me.
Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today. Purchase your tracks today.